quiet seaside town, an evil laid to rest centuries ago, has risen. An abandoned fortress deep in the swamp holds a secret that could save the village or destroy it. Now, a band of adventurers sets out to dig up the wounds of the past and bring the light of day to the roots of ruin. This is Tabletop Gold.
Everybody, and welcome to Tabletop Gold, episode 88. There was a movie that came out in the year 1985 about a sports car that went 88 miles per hour and ripped a hole in the space-time continuum. That's what it's called. And I'm dedicating this episode to that. Happy Back to the Future episode, everybody. I'm Lars Casteen, your game magistrate. Feeling good, happy to be here, glad that you're here with us. And you know who else I'm glad to have here with us? It's Robin Lange.
The first Back to the Future movie, the time on the DeLorean, the date on the DeLorean is the day before I was born.
Oh,
so that's always cool to me. I think it takes place. I think the present time is October 26, 1985. I could be wrong, but that's kind of that's the fact that has burned its way into my brain.
Now, Robin, what was your mother's maiden name as well?
That's right.
By the way,
I believe it was Caroline in the City.
Okay. Leah
Is
Thompson.
that hyphenated or all one word?
Leah Thompson, that's her name.
David, the Tin Man Chernicoff, is here. Hi, David.
Hi, Lars. Your description of Back in the Future was...
Back in the Future? Is that what this movie's called now?
Wait. What's happening?
God help me.
It's not every day you're served such a wonderful little platter to make fun of somebody for something that has no consequence whatsoever, and I can just hammer it all day long.
Yeah, I'm realizing that the reason this feels so destabilizing is that I've never made a mistake on the show before.
That's right.
So we're all in uncharted territory here. We're all getting used to it.
Have you made a mistake anywhere before? I can't think of one, is why I'm asking.
David's thinking it over. While he's doing that, let's say hello to Zoe Chernicoff. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, I got nothing, babe.
Yeah.
You know what? As far as mistakes go, calling the movie Back in the Future is a great one. That's a great first mistake.
That's like a grandpa mistake, and I love it.
And our Matt Humphreys is here as well.
He's our Matt.
oh, thank you. Also, when I hit 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
That's a great movie.
Christopher Lloyd.
I love it. Christopher Lloyd, God bless him, one of the greats. You know who else is one of the greats? Is David the Tin Man Chernicoff. A few, let's call it years ago at this point on the podcast, David told a story about getting a pair of shoes.
I remember those shoes. I don't think that was even a full year ago yet.
No, no, it wasn't. It just feels like forever ago. A lot of things have been happening in the world since
Those
then.
were beautiful shoes.
And these were shoes with like big bright yellow soles. Was that the story, or were the shoes themselves yellow? The shoes themselves were yellow.
The shoes are black with bright yellow soles, and the sort of like studs around the laces are a
like
bright
orange?
kind of peachy orange color.
Cool looking shoes. And I have a shoe story that reminded me of your shoes that I would like to share with you all now, if I may.
Please.
I have for years worn New Balance shoes. I have stopped recently because I got a pair of shoes in late November that in early December, a hole was ripped in the front of the shoe by my toe. I sent it back. It was like in 10 days of wearing the shoe, it fell apart. I sent it back to Zappos, which is a popular online shoe retailer.
Haven't heard of it.
I got a replacement pair of shoes that within 20 days, the exact same thing happened. And I just have this hole ripped in the front of the shoe. And I was like, I gotta stop buying these New Balances. These shoes used to be made in the United States of America, and I thought of as having like a relatively high build quality. These shoes were made that I ripped holes in by having toes were made in Indonesia, and I have like I think a relatively common sort of theory about that sort of thing where it's like I'm imagining the people making these shoes in this place are not necessarily being treated very well, aren't getting paid a great wage. Maybe they're not able to put together a great product. My heart goes out to these people, but I need a pair of shoes that isn't going to fall apart. So I went to Zappos and I was just like, get me a shoe made in the United States of America. And I found a shoe that looks basically like a pair of New Balances. And I was like, this is great. Just send me this shoe. This is fine. I don't even care what it is. This looks like this is going to fit. And so they sent me this shoe. I'm holding this shoe in front of the camera right now. What do you guys think of this shoe?
Oh,
Yeah.
Shoe. Yeah.
I like
Future
it.
potential sponsor?
Can you describe this shoe for me?
It has a bottom and sides.
It's got a white sole.
It's got white shoelaces. It's got these panels of fabric.
It's
Blue
mostly
body,
a blue shoe. Yeah.
but with a lovely low-grade rainbow.
It's like a classic looking
It's like
sneaker.
an ombre retro fade.
Yeah.
Well, as I move this shoe closer to the camera, what do you notice about this shoe?
It has pretty visible outstitching.
That
Yeah.
top stitching. Yeah, it's lovely.
Okay.
That shoe does not have shoelaces.
The
It's
laces
fake.
are printed
the
on
laces
it.
are fake.
The entire thing is fake. This entire shoe is just a neoprene sheath on a sole.
It's just a
These
slip-on?
shoelaces are a picture of shoelaces. This stitching is a picture of stitching. This shoe is not a shoe. It is just a shoe screen printed onto a mouse pad that I put on my body.
How does it feel?
It feels
Yeah,
great.
and-
I love it.
Exactly. It looks incredibly durable, which I can tell because you're currently like mashing it and bashing it in all
Yeah.
directions to show us. So I think you may have gotten just what the doctor
I think I
ordered,
got what I
right?
wanted.
Yeah.
Then I finally looked at the name of the name brand of the shoe. It's pseudo brand. The whole bit of this shoe is that it's not a real shoe, and I just didn't notice
the
it
brand
until
is actually pseudo, by the
The
way.
brand
that
is
wasn't like
pseudo.
it's a
No.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a proper noun, not a Lars provided adjective.
Mhm.
I kind of love it. It reminds me a little bit of I have a couple Rothy's, which are super
Mhm.
soft and they're like made from recycled plastic bottles.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
feel like there's not a woman in America who hasn't had Instagram shove Rothy's
yeah.
into every available moment. I've never actually bought a pair. Are they comfortable?
They are. I have 2 pairs and I'm about to go buy a 3rd pair because also as a teacher, we get a discount.
Oh.
Future potential sponsor, Rothy's.
Yeah, we should get
Mhm.
any shoe manufacturer that wants to come in here aside from New Balance. We'll do it. We'll make a we'll find
Pseudo, we're looking at you.
pseudo.
Yeah,
I will do
pseudo.
it. I know that I'm about 3 months away from these being like the shoe that everybody knows. Oh, that's the douchebag shoe. Is these fake ass like screen printed sneakers? So I'm enjoying these next 3 months where I don't get judged. I'm really looking forward to it.
Wow, I'm on the Pseudo website, and I'll drop this in the chat. They make
Okay.
they probably make them for men too. They make a sneaker for women that is the same thing Lars is describing, where it's like, painted on to the neoprene shell, but it's also stylized like a cartoon. Like it's like a cartoon of a shoe.
Yeah, it looks like a Keith
I respect
Haring
that.
cartoon.
Yes.
It totally does.
I
Yeah.
respect that.
I love
I mean,
them.
I don't know.
Those are
Maybe
pretty
I'm an
cool.
idiot, but I guess I'm kind of into this. Here's one thing I realized wearing these stupid shoes is that I never want to tie a pair of shoelaces again in my life. Like
No.
I'm done. I've had it. Like who
right.
needs it
Yeah.
anymore?
I have moved the only pair of shoes basically that I have that has shoelaces is the one that we have discussed.
Yeah.
But they are basically pullable on and off without dealing with the shoelaces. I truly think they're pointless. Shoes have come a long way. There are substances now that enable us to keep things in place without like leather straps.
Agreed.
It's like you watch an old movie and you see dudes in like a 30s or 40s or 50s movie wearing socks that had to have like a little strappy thing in the mid calf in order to keep them
garter to hold
up.
the socks up.
The calf garter.
Yeah, and you look at that and it's like, wow, that's so long ago. Like, look at that. To me, that's how shoelaces register. It's like
agree.
There's no point in this anymore.
Completely agree. All right, enough shoe talk. Let's move on to our game. Right? Let's do it, shall we? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get into the game proper, I just want to take some time to thank everybody who has left a review of Tabletop Gold at their podcast app of choice. We've been getting a lot of new folks coming through here lately because of the drama involving Wizards of the Coast and the open gaming license and stuff. A lot of people are trying to check out Pathfinder 2nd Edition, which welcome to those of you who are new to this and have spent 88 episodes listening to this show now. Great to see you. But we're getting a lot of new people in here, and all of the reviews that you, as a person who has been listening to the show for a while, any review that you leave is really helpful in helping draw some people that want to hear what this game is like. They want to hear what Pathfinder can be like. These reviews help them come to us. So thank you for doing that. We got this great review in on Apple Podcasts from our good friend Gritty Mike.
Yay, Gritty!
Thanks, Gritty.
Hey, Gritty, who let us know that they had to install iTunes to cancel a free trial of Showtime from their Apple TV. So they left a review for us while they were on iTunes doing
I
that.
appreciate that. A multitask.
I agree.
Makes a lot of sense.
Whatever the excuse is, I appreciate it, and it helps us out a ton. So thank you, Mike, for that. Okay, let's get into our game.
Yes!
As you've been spending the better part of a week modifying your equipment to be better suited for the horrors lurking within the Abomination vaults, you've learned more about a new danger here in town. No matter what you've tried to stop it, a large, flawless ruby seething with evil energies returns to Mayor Menhemez's daughter Doriana every single night, as she has nightmares about adventures with a strange figure she calls the Motley Man. So, friends, we've covered, last time we played, we covered the night times for the 6 nights that you have been back in town, and we've covered Mag's daytime for those 6 days as well, tracking her crafting and modifying the armor that you guys are wearing to get back into the dungeon. Before we get into the downtime, there's one thing I want to say. There was some concern that you guys are taking time that you wouldn't take to prepare to go back into the dungeon, that it's a race against time to handle the threat to the town of Otari. The response that I have to that is that the sense I think that your characters would have gotten up to this point is that this dungeon is huge, more than that it is immediately lethal, especially at this moment. Like, you guys should have a sense that you're going to need to be significantly stronger and better equipped to have any chance to stop this newly reawakened ghost of Belcora, as you've heard about from your conversations with the ghost of Otari Ilvashti. So, I'm not sure that you guys would consider this time spent getting better and preparing yourself more as wasted time. Like, downtime as it exists in this game is really more about like preparation and strengthening yourself to make further pushes deeper down. And you know that there are dangers lurking everywhere, not just Belcora herself. So being prepared, investing in preparation is a smart investment, is my take on the issue.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. And it's also like, I imagine it would cause some angst for, at least for my dear Magdaruna. Even if she knows that it's a practical choice, I think it would still be hard for her to be spending this prudent time, but like in a not as active a mode, getting up there and bashing the thing that's menacing her home.
Well, it's a really, just to break out of the game for a second, it's a really weird thing in games like this where it's like the job of the adventurer and the job of the game master is to like present urgency and to like motivate your characters to do dangerous things. And it sometimes is hard to communicate without undermining the feeling that, it's not all just going in and swinging a sword. Like these other parts of the game that feel like you're taking a break are not really breaks.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act to communicate in a game like this, like tension, but to also open up the boundaries for different kinds of story as you're moving through the adventure.
Yeah.
But let's talk downtime, friends.
Ooh.
We have 6 days of downtime coming to Ao and Norman. We have 6 days of downtime coming to Trill. We have 0 days of downtime coming to Mag, because Mag is this entire time swinging her hammer at the forge by Glades for Blades, Blades for Glades. And we have 5 days of downtime for Vadim, because Vadim spent one of those days doing athletics to assist Mag in a thing.
Just jumping jacks all day.
That's
Mag,
right.
look at this!
Was...
Look at this! I have such good burpee form.
I'll take a look in just a... Sorry, what I'm doing is actually very intricate.
That's why she keeps messing up.
Yeah. Vadim is
Like
totally
when,
way too up in her business. Like trying
when
to
Trill
actually-
told an obnoxious story for 4 hours.
That's one of my favorite things that has happened so far on this show.
It's actually important to concentrate for this kind of work.
Oh, check it out! I'm doing push-ups now.
It's shaking the forge.
I could only do 3. I'm a dex build. What can I say?
I was gonna make the
I'm a
text build
textile.
joke.
Right, more of a core strength guy, I suppose.
Zoe, what do you think Norman or Ao are doing with these 6 days of downtime?
So I think that Ao is using the, her ongoing support of Nothing But Kobold to do a little exploring in town. So I think she is taking, a little basket full of cakeys and trill cakes and, an assortment of different pastries around town. And one place she's interested in going is the Giant's Wheel, which I don't think we've been to, or at least not, formally as part of the game.
Yeah, of course. The Giant's Wheel is like the main work site in town. So as you approach the Giant's Wheel, you hear the sound of this massive creaking apparatus that water runs into and runs out of. There's a wooden canal coming down the hill into the Giant's Wheel that is fed by the river that runs through and around the town as it approaches the inner sea to the south. So there are definitely hard-working people here all through the workday, and the idea of trying to make money by selling Nothing But Kobolds' baked goods to the workers or the staff here makes a lot of sense to me.
Hot cross trill cakes. Hot cross trill cakes.
So my question is, do you want to try to make a deal with the management here to get permission, which I think is going to be a little bit harder to sell these cakes around, or do you want to just sort of work your way into the working class population at the Giant's Wheel to try to sell baked goods to them? One of those is going to be harder than the other.
I don't think Ao or Norman has ever met a situation where they were supposed to make a deal where they shied away from it. So I think she's diving in to try and convince management to, pay her more and let her sell.
So as you arrive at the Giant's Wheel on the early afternoon of Desnus the 25th, you see a large half-orc standing around, keeping a close eye on the workers and occasionally walking up and whispering orders into people's ears. And it seems as though they are the foreman here. He looks strong. He looks muscular, maybe like he used to fight professionally. Like he's got a fighter's build.
Ao sort of assesses this from afar, quickly ducks behind a bush, comes out as Norman in what I can only describe as sort of a matador's costume. Thin mustache, the like, and he sort of, waltzes over to this foreman. Hello there, sir. You seem to be in charge here. You seem like an important man. Can I speak to you about an important matter of business? Businessman to businessman?
Well, he looks down at you. Well, I'm not really interested in doing business with much of anybody until I know their name.
My name is Gustav Eriksson.
And he reaches down his huge hand to you and grabs your hand super hard. And he looks at you and he says, my name is Clort Hangus.
Clort, it's a real pleasure.
Well, that remains to be seen. Would you mind making your society check to sell the goods here, please? And I'm going to say that this is going to count as a make an impression at the same time.
Okay. That's 24.
24. This is a level 8 earn income that you're doing. 24 hits the DC right on the head.
Oh!
Nice.
And he looks at you and he says, I don't typically get along well with people that dress in the way that you do, but I myself was a gladiator for some time, and what is bullfighting if not being a gladiator against an animal? So,
That's right. A gladiator, you say? Where did you do that? I'm always interested in the tricks of the trade, having been on the road doing the animal style version of it myself for so long.
Oh, that was a past life that I did that. That was, I spent time in the Aurorium and Absalom, worked my way up there.
Nothing local, though, like in a big dungeon pit with a fleshwarp monster that's enormous, like nothing like that. That doesn't ring any.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, nothing. You say this was far away, right? Not around here in these parts?
Well, around these parts, yeah, but, I just sort of worked my way up the circuit and made a name for myself, and then I got my time in front of the big lights, and, wouldn't say I did all that well, but,
Well, you're still here. You didn't do as bad as you could have.
It was a lifetime ago, and now, now look at me. I'm the boss here.
You're a
right?
manager.
Well, I'm a manager. Yeah, I guess.
Mr. Manager.
That's just manager.
Just manager.
We just say
What?
manager.
I gotta say, it's been nice thinking back to my heyday out in the ring with the bulls and Norman sort of dancing around on his feet. He pulls out a little, epi and kind of taps the orc maybe once on the knee or something. I feel like we're two of a kind, You know what I'm gonna do for you? I'm gonna offer you here one of these delicious tooth treats. They're these little here. It's a little cakey, and it'll clean your teeth. And if it doesn't, then I can come back and clean them. That'll be just a couple extra silver. But these will really get the job started. And I'll see if your workers want them. It'll save time. They won't be taking breaks to go brush their teeth. Think of the savings.
Well, one thing I'd like to say is that I take meticulous care of my teeth, so I'm really less worried about solutions for myself, but they work long hours here, and if the folks working here could potentially have a treat that also helped their teeth out, that sounds good by me. Why don't you, yeah. As long as you don't interrupt anything, as long as you're not interrupting the work that we're doing here, yeah, go ahead and sell your tooth-shaped food.
Will do. I'll be in and out, some this week. You'll probably see me around again, and, let me know. I see that you're flossing, but those back molars look a little, and he kind of like puts a finger.
Nope.
Okay. I get it.
No, I get it. I get it. Boundaries are made to be established.
I appreciate that.
I hope that you can respect the boundary that I just established with you right now.
I like a manager who knows who he is. I appreciate that. I'll be off here not bothering your workers and taking their money. Don't worry.
Sounds good. I'll see you around. Gustav, nice to meet you. And he reaches down his hand and shakes his hand, and he shakes your hand, and he says, I think this might help their productivity out quite a bit.
Me too.
And that means that's success. You are trained in society. That means that you are, for 6 days, going to earn a gold and a half every single day. So we're talking about 9 extra gold at the end of the day, at the end of the week or that partial week, as you sell very effectively through the management at the Giant's Wheel.
First time I felt like earning income actually mattered. There you go.
And the way that income works is if you do it with a skill that you have more training in, you do get more money. So like if you had expert in society, you'd get 2 gold a day rather than a gold and a half per day, and so on and so forth. And you know what? I gave you the wrong number. It was actually 2.5 gold per day. Wow. So it's not 9 gold. It's
85.
It's 80. Is that what it is? It's 85.
I think so.
Actually, I think it's 185.
It is 15
that does
gold.
Sound right.
Actually,
is that enough for Zoe to level up?
That's right. That's how leveling up works in this game.
Yeah.
So
I'm now a manager.
You're now
you're Mr. Manager.
Assistant to the manager. Okay. So let's move on. What is Trill doing during this time that Norman spends the week skulking around the Giant's Wheel selling the kobolds pastries? Mag spends her time hammering at the forge. What is Trill doing?
So this might be not like the best gameplay choice, but I feel like Trill would actually stick around Menima's Manor to keep an eye on Doriana. Even though Trill seems to know that everything's happening at night, I feel like Trill wouldn't want to go too far away. I don't know that Trill would like head to a tavern or head to the docks and earn income like she usually would.
Okay. Well, if you spend your time at Menima's Manor, there is an opportunity to earn income if you're interested in hearing about it.
Could Trill teach the children music?
Yeah, I like that. I think that makes sense. I'll buy the idea that you could use performance to, while you're keeping an eye on Doriana, to tutor them and teach them about the arts. I think that sounds like something that the mayor would be into. Like the mayor says to Trill, the minds of the young people today are too filled with numbers and words.
Good Lord.
Why can't the music of the future be written in the children of today?
Yeah, that's right.
Composed in the key of now.
So I'm going to give you 2 options again, as I tend to do for earn income. You can try to teach Doriana music, which is going to be difficult because she is suffering. Her hair is seemingly getting dirtier. She's getting tired and more anxious each day. But if you want to spend your time trying to teach her and use music to soothe her, the mayor looks as though he has maybe a little more money to give you on that.
I mean, soothing her definitely makes sense. Calming her, yeah.
But if you want to deal with the rest of the children to potentially take their attention off of the crisis that's happening with their oldest sister, that's something you could do as well.
Huh. Fascinating.
So what do you think? Do you want the easy one or the hard one?
Well, obviously the hard one.
So Trill sets up with Doriana, and as we see Trill working with Doriana and trying to teach her music, her bedroom gets progressively more torn apart because in the night, you're doing this extra work of moving her bed outside, taking the pillows off the bed, digging a hole in the ceiling, hanging up a hammock, digging a hole in the floor. So as we see Trill trying to soothe Doriana by teaching her the power of song, we also see Doriana's private life falling apart.
Poor
so
Doriana.
Why not give me a performance check? And I think that you're okay to use all of your extra performance check stuff because it is that we're talking about Trill doing something involving playing her magical Meister's instrument and also using her virtuosic performance skills.
Yeah, okay. Fantastic.
So what did you roll for your check to earn income?
Oh. I ended up, with everything together, getting a 31.
Oh.
Very nice. 31 is enough to succeed at this more difficult earn income check, meaning that Trill spends the week successfully helping Doriana sing even just a faint song while her mental state gets darker and darker and darker as the week goes on.
I feel like I'm hearing the strains of Evanescence playing from Trill.
That's okay.
What with her more goth phase and Doriana falling to pieces. Obviously, there's a little Evanescence and Linkin Park happening.
Oh,
I
that's
hate
right.
to say it. I really
We're
hate
trying
to
to
say
bring her to life, if you will.
Yeah. Can't wake up. Wake me up inside, she sings.
You're trying to wake her up inside.
Bravo.
Trill, as an expert in performance, is going to come away with 3 gold pieces per day. So at the end of this 6-day stint, teaching Doriana to sing a song in the most dire of circumstances, the mayor drops a heavy pouch of 18 gold pieces in Trill's hand.
Nice. What on earth is Trill going to do with this?
And now we go to Vadim. What is Vadim going to do to earn income here in town?
He might go down and work with Augrail, helping Augrail learn sort of the essentials of, I guess, living anatomy, but he's going to have to translate it over to undead anatomy. But the principles are the same, you know?
This is very exciting. This brand new clinic that Augrail has set up. When Vadim arrives at Gauntlet on the 3rd floor, he sees that Augrail has started reforming that lounge area that was once the central point of the blue light passing through this library. And he has tried to turn it into a working clinic for unhealthy undead that are potentially going to be dragged down into oblivion to be eaten by the empty death herself, Nimbaloth. Vadim can teach Augrail one simpler medical idea or one more difficult medical idea. Let's see, what do we think those things might be?
Maybe applying a tourniquet to a vampire so it doesn't lose its blood that it's consumed. Not its own blood. It's someone else's blood.
So let's say that that's I gotcha. Let's say that that's the most the more difficult one. Vadim is looking to apply his armed forces medic training to apply to the particulars of blood loss in blood-sucking undead. Let's say that's your level 8 attempt. Level 6, I'm just going to throw out there, you're just going to help Augrail with his stitching. You're going to help Augrail cut his arm and re-stitch it over and over and over again throughout the week to help turn Augrail into a real surgeon. Which of those two would you like?
Grey's Anatomy?
I think I'm going to go with the easier of the two because,
Okay.
Vampire blood loss is a whole mess of worms. You know what I mean?
So here's what we're looking at. It's like the pottery scene in Ghost, except Vadim is sitting behind Augrail, who is small and shrunken, this little bizarre ghoul dude. And Vadim is tenderly cutting Augrail's arms open and guiding his fingers to help stitch the wound closed.
Oh, my darling.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's get that medicine check
Let's see.
and see what that looks like.
How that... Oh! Should have gone with the difficult one. That is a 20 on the die for a 32.
All right.
Ooh.
All right.
There's some deft sutures, bud.
Yeah.
When your heart's in the right place, you know? You just...
Yeah.
And you're an expert in medicine, so that means that critical success means that you do outstanding work. You gain the amount of currency listed for the task level, which was level 6, +1, and your proficiency rank. So you wind up taking home 2 gold pieces and 5 silver per day. So at the end of this week, Augril gives you 15 gold pieces worth of trinkets and esoterica that he's found around the library. And he says, I think I'm getting the hang of it now.
Oh,
Thank you.
I'm glad. It was truly horrifying to me.
This was weird, but I think it helped me.
Cool. That's what I shoot for usually when I teach medicine. It can be discomforting.
To go.
That's the word I was going to use. Exactly. Discomfiting.
And Vidium does that, grimaces a little, and like he kind of gets the, you know, when you get the wigglies shake and you're like, ugh, and he does that. And then sort of shakes his hand.
I do believe that any discomfort is worth saving even one, like me, from that thing pulling them down towards it.
That is what I hope. To deny Nimbleoth the source of her strength.
Yes. Okay. See you later.
Cool. I'm out.
Bye.
Vadim
I
out.
And
have
they
two
have one
questions.
very sensual kiss.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
I ship it.
Augrel's lips fall off.
Yeah. Oh, God. You ruined it, man.
Robin, what's your question?
Hi. Oh God, what was I even thinking? There's so many things going through my head after that.
Are most of them scenes from Ghost?
Kind of.
Yeah.
And I don't know which of them is which character from Ghost.
Actually, I could see Vadim being played by Patrick Swayze, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Oh.
That makes
Like
sense.
young Patrick Swayze before he got super jacked. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
really light on his feet and
Dex
yeah.
Patrick Swayze.
Exactly.
Not later strength Patrick Swayze.
Right. Patrick
Exactly.
Swayze, one of Hollywood's most successful dex builds, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, don't disagree.
Yeah, pretty high up there.
I love how often we've used the word discomfort recently. It's a quality underused word in the English language.
Agreed.
And B, God, there was something that actually had to do with what you were just doing. And I'm so lost by images of Augrel and Vadim racing through my head now. Why?
Okay. Guys, guess what?
What?
Do we level up?
Yeah, you level up. It's the evening of Desness, the 30th.
So wait, Lars, is what's
Yeah.
happening right now that we've filled in the week for everybody else?
Yeah.
We have to return to the later point in time that we
Yes.
have already been to with Doriana. So you might even say that we need to go back in the future.
Yes, we need to
I
go
think it's back
in the
to
future.
the future, actually.
Well,
No,
come on.
that doesn't
That
sound
doesn't
right.
sound right. That's what a dumb name for a movie that would have been. Back to the
I mean, I'm
future.
glad we're workshopping this, but I think back in the future is still the best we've heard.
Yeah, it's like you want to go back in time. You're not going to go back to time.
But
Thank you.
but you're not going back in the past. You're going back to the future. We've got to get back to the future.
We've got to get
I
back
don't
in
know.
the
Because the
future.
future
Yeah.
feels like a 2
Get
versus
back.
an in.
Get back
the
in where
future.
you once belonged. Yeah.
Back in the USSR.
Because that's the power of
Back
love?
to the USSR.
That's right.
Yeah.
Back in. Okay.
Back in the power of love?
Yeah, so we're at that latest point in linear time. We've told 3 stories. We've told the story of Doriana dealing with her nightmares at night and the frustration that you felt in being unable to stop this ruby from returning. We've told the story of the party going out and improving their equipment and earning some more money to fund their adventure. And we've told the story of... That's it. That's actually the entire thing.
Yeah.
So, at the end of that time, the mayor seeks you down. This is potentially the morning right as everybody has realized that Doriana has awoken with the Lange ruby tucked underneath her chin. And the mayor turns to you and says, "This isn't working."
It may not be working, but I feel like through getting rid of the options that don't work, we figured out at least something a little bit more. So think of it as a scientific experiment.
Why is this happening to my girl?
I don't know.
At this point, I imagine everyone else is there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Trill's been there the whole week, so I feel like Trill's kind of developed this rapport, hopefully with the family as well. But Trill kind of looks around to everyone else, and
I don't know what makes Doriana this target. Well, what's so special about her? I mean, it's not like there's tons of other people in this town that have magic, and the few that do certainly wouldn't do anything like this to Doriana. So the only option left is to keep investigating the gauntlet, I guess. What do you guys think?
Honestly, I don't know, but I think you're right in pointing to Gauntlet as part of the solution. If not, if this has never happened before now, it would have to be connected. I can't imagine
There hasn't been anyone else in the village in the town has ever died from not died. I'm sorry, not died.
What?
No, not died. She's not dying. There's no one else that
Gotten their hands dyed by a ruby, she means, like where the red rubs off.
Who's ever had like nightmares that won't stop and have just been deprived of sleep to the point of physical and mental exhaustion?
I can't say I've ever heard of anything like that. It's interesting hearing you say that it happened now, and that must mean that it has something to do with Gauntlet. What kind of sense does that make? These dreams, they must have started around a month ago, and I just can't figure it out.
Where were we in the dungeon a month ago? That was Volek Azrene in the wall, and then we shut down the wall of ghosts to be able to progress deeper into the
because
Thinkerville.
Didn't I say something? I felt like I did mention. I'm going back to it. That I feel like this has something to do with the Rose Guard then, because we had to collect the relics of the Rose Guard,
Right.
bring them together, and that released that wall of ghost. And she's a descendant of a member of the Rose Guard. So it just keeps coming back to that. So maybe as we're talking and walking through this, Trill's thinking out loud, Belcora, she hated the Rose Guard, and they led to her downfall, and Doriana is a descendant of...
You think this is revenge? You think that Belcora's ghost is down there plotting revenge against Asefna?
It could be. I mean, especially now that maybe somehow because
And Trill looks down at the brooch that she's wearing.
Maybe since the brooch was in your house for so long, maybe it had some memory, and so in bringing the brooch back to the gauntlet, her ghost was able to read some memory out of it.
Or opening the wall allowed her spirit to escape to a certain degree.
Oh, no.
But
Maybe that wall wasn't keeping us out, but it was keeping her in?
That's a terrifying thought, Trill, but I think you might be onto something.
You think that this is Belcora Haravex herself targeting my daughter?
I mean, this ruby is pretty evil.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think it would be premature to dismiss that and Trill's other thought about perhaps the connection through Asefna's brooch.
And it was Norman's sort of like mumbling to himself. It was when Belcora was right around Asefna's age that she started to come into her powers, that she found her source of hate, like he's sort of remembering from the book.
And has Norman or Ao shared any of that information from the book with us?
I don't think the thing about running away, right? I think she kept that part to herself, but so like general, but I think this would be sort of mumblings about things that others hadn't heard.
The mayor turns around and punches the wall, and plaster
So you're going to say
shakes.
punches Norman.
He
I was
punches
like,
Norman
that's
right
coming.
in the
but-
face. No, he punches the wall, and dust and plaster sort of shake down around you. He says, "Damn it! If it's Belcora, or if there's something at Gauntlet that's responsible for what's happening with my daughter, you gotta go. You're the only people I can ask for help."
Mag strides over to the mayor and puts a gentle hand on his shoulder. Mayor, I know how it feels to be so angry that you punch a wall.
Magdaruna, I'm sorry that that's a feeling that you have to live with. I hope that someday you're freed from that.
Oh, no sweat, sir. I feel like that most of the day.
Right, no, that's what I'm saying. That's sort of what my point, right?
It's nice to let it out.
If that's where your answers are going to be, I guess we're just going to have to live for the time being with this thing. And he motions over towards Doriana, holding this ruby in her hand, haunting my girl. We're going to bring the bed back in. I'm going to bring the toys back. If she's going to be haunted by this
Make
ruby,
her comfortable.
right? If I'm really putting her life in your hands, it's my decision as a father exactly to make sure that she's comfortable.
Just keep an eye on your daughter. And make note of any change.
Of course. That's exactly what I'll do.
And Doriana, don't let that motley man take you anywhere weird.
Or do anything weird.
She sort of whispers to herself, "Oh, the Motley Man. Yeah." Like she gets comfort from thinking about his name.
Like she's definitely listening to the instructions given to her.
Yeah, sounds
That's
like
right.
she's tuning right in.
Gross.
Well, guess we're heading back to the dungeon.
And with that, it's the morning of the 31st of
31st? There's
Desnas.
34?
And this day feels like it's gonna get pretty hot. It's been climbing over the last week from the high 50s up to the high 60s. But today it's gonna break 80. It's gonna be a high of 86 degrees today as we start working our way into the summer.
What does that mean for the dew point?
I'd imagine it's
I
elevated.
don't know. I don't have the dew point.
Lars.
It's 5.
68.
If it's 68. That's right. 68 dew point, 86 degrees. You just take the temperature, you flip it. That's
You
what the
flip
dew
it.
point is.
There's your dew point.
Sometimes when it's 81, the dew point's only 18.
It's only 18. When it's
That's
8
how it
degrees, it's 80 dew point because you have to add the 0 from before and then
yeah,
you
it's
flip
still
it.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's 201 level dew point calculation though.
And when it's 800 degrees outside, the dew point is 8.
Yeah, because the zeros go before.
That's right.
8,000? 8.
8. So, what are you guys doing? You're heading back into the dungeon.
Get us that dunge.
You getting dungy?
Yeah.
Tony
Let's do
Dungy
it.
up in here?
Yeah, we're gonna go Tony Dungy.
Well, as you prepare to head out of town, you see a messenger approaching you, walking purposely forward, her eyes both locked on you. She is a woman with short dark hair and broad shoulders, wearing heavy leather and a hooded long coat. She has a lean, wary face, and on her coat's left shoulder is a patch displaying what seems to be a military unit's insignia, a skull pierced through by a crimson sword, its hilt wrapped with a chain. She walks up, looks at the four of you, scans three of you quickly, and finally lays her eyes on Vadim. And she says, Vadim Drakeshku.
Yes?
I have a message for you. And she looks at the rest of the group and she says, it is private.
Very well. Perhaps we should walk over here and discuss. And he leads her out of earshot.
And this woman, wearing these leathers and this long coat, stands with Vadim just out of earshot of the rest of the group and start to have a private conversation. Armat, what do you think the people watching this conversation see?
So I think at first they see Vadim look a little confused. And then after the messenger seems to finish delivering the message, he gets really intense and grabs her by the lapels and gets right up into her face. And as he hears the response, he lets her lapels go and starts rubbing the back of his neck with a worried expression on his face.
She nods at Vadim and turns away from him and walks away.
Vadim walks slowly back to the rest of the group. Well, we were going to go to the dungeon, right? We'd better go.
What was all that about?
Nothing, Bill.
You looked pretty upset. It didn't look like nothing.
Just some news from last wall. It's not a big deal. Let's
News of your family?
And Vadim just walks ahead to the dungeon without answering any more questions.
Rude.
So you walk together, Vadim in the front, you're like impatiently walking towards the dungeon, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Up the hill, through the forest on this day as the sun starts beating down on top of you, through the swamp, getting stickier and stickier. And where do you think you're going to start your exploration from today?
Well, we have a crowbar finally, guys.
Did we get a crowbar?
You did. You got the crowbar achievement.
Crowbar achievement unlocked.
Crowbar. Look, crowbar. Use crowbar.
Crowbar.
Get crowbar.
It's
Use
just a crowbar.
Use crowbar with door.
I don't know how to use crowbar.
Hit crowbar.
So are you going towards that locked door? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
I like
Okay.
that.
So you work your way down to the 5th floor below Gauntlet into the area surrounding the arena. The room just north of the mead hall where you fought the large bone gladiator contains a fireplace. In the room with that flickering fireplace, there are 2 doors that you have yet to explore. There's a door here to the southwestern corner of the room, and this door behind a Davenport knocked over on top of it, with pythons holding the door shut. What will you do?
Ao does a little sort of just like checking out the locks and kind of pretend, knowing we're just going to smash the door open with the crowbar. She's kind of like fiddling at it to see if she can appear savvy.
Well, she feels savvy for sure. She has a
Obviously.
good sense that there's no way to get into this door without prying out every one of these large spikes holding it shut.
Yeah, I could pick the lock, but Mag, I think it's just gonna be better for you or whatever. If you pry at the stuff.
All right, so Mag will rest her maul gently on the ground, and we'll start trying to pry the door open.
So Mag shoves the crowbar into this door, which seems to be, magically protected because it is in such good shape. It is so thoroughly closed, but she's able to shove the crowbar underneath one of these pythons and pop! And the python falls out and clatters to the ground. It takes her about 10 minutes of work to go slam, rip, slam, rip, over and over again until 20 or so pythons are lying on the ground in front of you on this stone floor.
I'm going to imagine that she does part of this work with a hammer. She's a hammer lady, so she's putting in the crowbar into little crevices, and then maybe the warhammer, since it's one-handed, she's giving them these mighty bashes, and these pythons are gradually loosening.
Which I think sends the pythons behind her as she hammers the back of the crowbar, and the python slips out and falls, like some of them fly over her shoulder, past her waist, etc.
Trill's ducking out of the way of them.
Exactly. And after 10 minutes, you're confident that you've gotten the last of these pythons out. And all you see now is a doorknob waiting to be turned.
So what does a doorknob look like, Lars? Is this like a plain doorknob? Is it an ornate doorknob? Is there etchings or carvings on it?
It's a plain doorknob. All of the doors in this area have like heavily reinforced wood and iron banding around them. When you came back here, you saw a number of these weighted doors that you propped open using stones. This does not look like it's going to any kind of ceremonial location or anything like that. It just sort of seems to be another one of these doors.
All right. Well, let's open up the door.
As you open this door, a smell of rot blasts out over you.
Oh, I knew something would be dying in here.
And then fades after a moment.
Oh, that was worse than Ogreil's clinic.
See, this is why you're not really fired. That was good.
It seems as though something was rotting in here long ago. After this immediate blast of smell, it settles down. A glowing circle of runes covers the floor in this chamber. Parchment covered with cramped writing sits on a desk situated against the north wall. And slumped over the desk, you see a humanoid figure wearing a dark green robe. And looking at the arm draped over the desk, extending over a pile of papers, you realize that every inch of this person's skin is covered with parchment, wrapped around and draping off of it.
Like a mummy?
Can Vadim recall knowledge about if this is like a funerary practice or something that he'd be aware of?
Yes. Vadim, can you give me a blind religion check, one of this recall knowledge that I just threw into chat?
You bet.
And Vadim believes that this is some sort of sacred funerary rite that could have done this. This slumped up figure lifts its head off the desk with seeming difficulty and raises its arms in a show of deference.
Oh. About time someone in this dungeon showed us some deference.
And you hear a rattling whisper. I mean you no harm. Escapes between the matted, saturated rolls of parchment wrapped around this creature's face.
No, right, of course. We've met so many fun friends down here. What you doing in here? Ao says.
He stands up and shrugs at you and starts organizing his papers. And he says, You've opened the door, so that is quite helpful to me. But I have no interest in speaking with you. Step aside. I have some need to get organized before I leave this prison. And the portal to arrange for my escape will take some time to correct, so please, leave me.
Ao tries to look at the papers, like see if she can sneak a peek at whatever might be written on them.
The papers seem to be covered with bizarre magical writing, like strange ornate symbols, arcane scribblings, and so on, similar to what you saw in Zarmavdian's spell book. He seems to have written spells on these pages. These are not your concern. Do not look at my papers. If you're just gonna stand there looking stupid, I'm never gonna be able to get out of here, so it's distracting. Stop it.
Where are you trying to go?
I will return home to Osirian, where I was before Belcora pulled me here. But again, I hate your stupid questions. They're wasting my time. Please go away. And he pauses for a second. And he says, Or I suppose you could prove to me that you're worth my time.
So Ao ducks. Hold on 1 second though. I left something in the hallway, and she ducks out and uses her. I'm not forgetting the name of the feat. I have a disguise feat.
Your backup disguise?
My backup disguise, yes. And comes back in the room. I think it takes her 5 minutes to do that. Am I getting that right?
While that 5 minutes is happening, he's just like, So you're just gonna look at me?
That's right. She just left the other three in there with no explanation of what's happening. Oh, it's sorry, I dropped it. It fell down the grate.
I'm just going to keep working on my papers then.
Comes back in with her backup disguise and appears. Oh, go ahead.
What is your backup disguise? The backup disguise is a specific disguise. What is that?
Correct. So based on all of the effigies and pictures they have seen, she now appears to look like Belcora.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got it. So you are impersonating Belcora, matching the painting that you saw on the first floor, probably, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've seen, I feel like she's seen body images with the, effigies that we saw, and we've seen the paintings. And so it's whatever her best guess is from the images she's seen.
All right. Let's get an impersonation attempt for Ao to pretend to be Belcora Haravax. Let's talk about impersonation. So if you attempt to interact directly with someone while disguised, I will roll a secret deception check for you against his perception DC instead. If you're disguised as a specific individual, the GM might give creatures you interact with a circumstance bonus based on how well they know the person you're imitating, which is going to be, we'll see how well that is. Give me a blind deception check then. As you come back into the room dressed as Belcora Harvex, let's play this out and let's get that check.
All right, so there's the blind check. It's blind, so I have no idea. And Ao comes in rasping in a sort of weird British voice, which she's decided must be Belcora's based on not British, but what we would call British, and what, of course, in Galarian you'd call someone here who knows more about this.
Tal'Doran, maybe?
Yeah, there we go. You! And she's like pointing a finger.
Okay, I'm going to give you some information. You rolled a 2 on your die.
Oh boy!
And this is a critical failure. So he looks at you and he looks at you and he just says, "You're the kitsune that was in here 5 minutes ago. You left. You put on a costume and then you came back here, thinking that I would be stupid enough to not recognize my boss. Okay. Well, I guess you do have my interest."
That's right, keeping you on your toes.
No,
and she's
okay.
Still doing the voice.
You're still doing the voice. Okay. Listen, this is so stupid that I can't ignore it. I will talk to you.
We've come around. We've failed so bad, we've succeeded.
Please take off that ridiculous costume, though.
She takes this very long, kind of messy wig off. Shrugs off a robe and looks a little sheepish, but not as sheepish as she should.
If you're willing to do something that audacious, perhaps you'll be willing to do something even more audacious for me. If you listen to me and you do my bidding, I will help you. You're the first people to get into this room for hundreds of years. You must be strong. And I can guess from that, and your penchant for dress-up, that you likely feel that you are owed some information from me. I have no interest in repeating myself, and I do not suffer fools.
Do you mind interruptions?
This is going to go real well with this group.
I feel as though even if I asked you not to do them, it would have no bearing on the outcome.
No, we'd listen.
I know you'd listen, but would you be able to restrain yourselves?
No, of course not,
right.
Yeah. Sorry, my shoes are itching. Hold on 1 second. And
Just,
she takes her shoes.
You don't need to keep the costume on. I know you are not my human boss from 400 years ago did not have silver fur. And also is not alive right now.
And how do you feel about compound questions? And if so, when?
Yes and never.
And how many levels to them?
0. Shut up. I'm talking. Long ago, I was the administrator of this grand arena here, deep below the ground. And Belcora was very clever. She demanded that only the strongest beasts be allowed to survive in these vaults. So I was tasked with pitting them against each other to find the strongest, both for her amusement and gratification, but also to sharpen their fearsome qualities against each other. There's a saying, steel sharpens steel.
Who said that?
I said it.
You said, okay. Yeah,
Chaffcom,
right.
the great Chaffcom said it.
Chaffcom. It's so nice to meet you, Chaffcom.
Shut up. When Belcora fell, it was chaos. The stupid beasts rampaged, of course. But some of the more intelligent creatures took to backstabbing in the power vacuum
that resulted from Belcora's death. And those backstabbers, they grabbed a hold of me and locked me here in my office. I am sure it was Jafaki that ordered my apprehension. He knew to be afraid of me.
Who was this Jafaki?
I'm sure you've seen them. The Sugathis. Disgusting worm-like creatures obsessed with reshaping flesh. Jafaki is their leader. I assume he still lives. They're quite tenacious, hanging on to life. More than I can say for myself.
But you're not alive, is what you're saying.
Not anymore. I have become something different.
Is it like a rash?
It's the worst rash you've ever seen. The rash of death.
Oh.
As he motions to the parchment wrapped around his face and trailing off of his arms.
You have to get rid of Jafaki.
What will you do if you return to Osirian?
I will continue my research into unfathomably dark magics and being a mummy. Is that something you don't like? Is that a problem for you?
I mean, it's getting there, yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, says Vadim as he starts pulling vigilance from its scabbard.
And he looks closer at Vadim, and he says, "Oh, no. You're a Pharasman, aren't you?"
Oh, yes, indeed. And that's when vigilance comes all the way out of its sheath.
Uh-oh. Mag throws a hand forward toward Vadim's chest and turns sharply on him.
Vadim, Io says through her teeth.
And he gets up into Mag's face and says, "You never listen to me. I should go somewhere where they appreciate the work of Pharasma. Let go of me now."
You know, it's so rare to see a Pharasman who doesn't have the support of their friends. You don't stand a chance against me. None of you do.
Oh, that's it. And Vadim launches himself at the mummy.
And we'll pick up from there next time.
The Roots of Ruin is a Tabletop Gold production produced under the Paizo Incorporated Community Use Policy. The Roots of Ruin uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's Community Use Policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Paizo does not recognize, endorse, or sponsor this project in any way. Original characters and content are the property of Tabletop Gold. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. We at Tabletop Gold would love to hear from you. Email us at letters@tabletopgold.com and find all our social links at tabletopgold.com.